Edge Sound Research, embodied sound. I had a chance to check out what you're doing with this technology in a demo a few weeks ago, and I have to tell you, I was just blown away.
I love the fact that you really feel every sound.
It's unlike anything I've ever felt. It kind of makes you feel like you're in the game.
This is incredible. I think it's a full body experience.
And it was pretty insane, not only getting to hear the sound, but to feel it too. They have the vibrations going on in the walls, in the floor. It was so crazy.
So it's kind of putting the sound into your body.
I believe this is the next generation speaker system.
Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater, and I've got a special guest with me today. This is Ethan Castro. It's great to see you.
Great to meet you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
But let's start at the beginning, because where this all comes from, my understanding, there's vibro-tactile, vibro-acoustic. The idea is that you're using physical recognition of sound waves or vibrations.
That's right, yeah. It's a concept that goes all the way back almost as old as time. People who have been deaf and hard of hearing for a long time. I myself was born a little hard of hearing, definitely not something that you would want to enter the world of audio and sound. But of course,
but you did.
I wanted to so badly. So in order to do so, I had to kind of rely on some of those tactics from the deaf and hard of hearing community that helped raise me. You know, they always told me, you know, touch the desk or touch the wall, touch the sound, so you can feel what your teacher is saying or feel what your parents are saying or something like that. As I was working in studios, kind of growing up a little bit, moved to LA, worked in some studios, and my secret was touching the speakers and feeling vocals come through, feeling the mud, and so instantly, regardless of what room I was in, I was able to feel and hear kind of exactly where the mud was in the vocal, make some precision cuts, and then move on to the next song. So I can do 3 songs kind of for 3 different tracks in the same time as one without having to get used to a room, and I can go back and forth to different studios. And so when I was in my dissertation, I figured, is there a way to quantify that so I can make that a repeatable experience, to have other people leverage that ability and not just have somebody like me that's been training for 20 years use that and make it a reliable, repeatable studio monitor type of experience, but using your body as the main pathway of understanding information.
Right, right. Well, we should also say that Edge Sound Research, what you're doing is you're applying that using drivers attached to pretty much any surface to create vibrations that then you can sense.
That's right, yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of cool companies that have been kind of toying around the space using tactile transducers. NXT was a big thing back in the day where they were applying these drivers onto different types of substrates. And it's always been a really cool tech, and people have been always fascinated by it. And as I was doing some research and talking to some of the OGs, I was asking, like, you know, like what was the thing that kind of didn't make it? If we all kind of agree that this is kind of the ultimate experience, then why haven't we seen it in like the professional audio space? And I think the number one thing was reliability. Since you can attach it to something different, it completely changes the timbre. Attaching it to wood makes it a nice warm sound. Attaching it to metal makes it very tinny. Attaching it to plastic makes it somewhere kind of in the middle, depending on the density of the plastic. How can we make it smart enough to be able to recognize what it's attached to and then fix itself, regardless of A, what it's attached to, but then B, whatever transducers are attached to it? Because there are so many different options, so many different applications. It needs something that's smart enough to be able to tackle all those different myriad of different options.
Right, so you accomplished that using DSP.
That's right, yeah.
To shape the signal.
Yeah, we like hacked a lot of different DSPs to make it work in this way because, you know, it's not acoustic, so all of the acoustic applications kind of don't work. But if you kind of tweak them just a little bit, they start working a little bit. So we've really made a lot of advances in hacking some of these DSPs to get them to be outperforming the way that they usually should work.
Right, yeah, it's fascinating. And the applications, once you start thinking about it, are so broad. I mean, some of the obvious ones, obviously you're exploring them, but some of the obvious ones would be, for example, installing onto a church pew. So instead of having assisted listening, you can have the sound actually come through the church pew.
Yeah, it seems like almost like a no-brainer, where if the sound is everywhere, then you don't need to have any louder sound. And that's kind of a weird concept that applies with our technology, which is louder is not more intense. In fact, you can have more intense without being louder whatsoever. So usually a very intense kind of concert going experience for us is around 85 to 87 decibels, and that's like a rock concert. It's really heavy and like an intense experience. People ask, you know, oh my gosh, that's a lot, can you turn it down? Sure, they think it's loud, but it's not, because the only association they have to loudness is giant speaker stacks pushing that much feeling towards them. So it's a really cool thing seeing how people kind of assimilate to, like, oh my gosh, I have to rewire my brain to understand how what is loud and what is intense. And if you use it sparingly, like in a house of worship, you get that ability to have an omnipresent sensation of the pastor speaking to the congregation, music going everywhere at the same time. There's no dead spot anymore. You have to try to go from the outside in. You can go from the inside out.
Right, and no feedback either.
Exactly, no feedback. That's one weird nature of chaotic emanation, which is what this technology is based off of, is that you can put a microphone right to the pew and be almost a couple inches away from it, and it doesn't feed back because it's not air pressure coming out. It's kind of radiating instead.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You've also installed systems like this into sports arenas, into some of the boxes and things, and other venues and things, and it really is interesting. The way that I kind of wrap my head around it, because I read your dissertation. I won't claim to have understood it, but I did read it. I went through it. And
I'm so sorry, thank you.
No, there's some stuff I want to talk to you about in there, but the direct relation that I made was to like drum tones that have butt kickers built into them, so you feel the kick drum or whatever. But I think we think of feeling sound as being just the low bass, but it's surprising how high frequencies you can actually sense that way.
That's right, yeah. Part of the research was examining how far the human body can actually detect sound, and it's clear into 3,000, almost to 5,000 hertz, and potentially plus. We kind of don't know what the limit is.
Right.
And it seems that the more people start using their body to listen, the more sensitive their body becomes. So this might not even be the limit of what we can do. Our team internally has tested up to 5,000, but it's quite possible you can listen all the way up to 10,000, potentially more, depending on how we can start testing these limits. We don't have the tools to test that. So we're kind of starting now to provide our units to some of these labs to test to see how far we can actually push it, because ours is the only one that can reliably reproduce the frequency range at that wide of a characteristic. Yeah.
Right. It's so fascinating. I was reading how you're a percussionist and then went on to be a composer and DJ and audio engineer and did a lot of things, but you were talking about how you tune timpanis by feeling the resonance of the orchestra around you.
Yeah, it's so funny. So they teach you to tap the top of it and then listen to it and then see if it's in range. And so I learned the motion, and so I still do the motion even though I'm not using my ears at all whatsoever. I can tap it and then I can feel the low brass already playing, so I can just already feel if it's in synchrony or not. So I can tune in half a second to go to it, but people don't believe that it's happening, so I still have to do the behavior just to make other people feel comfortable.
Right.
But there's a fellow student composed a timpani solo for me that required several quick tuning changes, and so unless you have the ability to tune and be able to go really quickly, it's almost impossible to play the timpani solo. So it was a really fun exercise just to push the boundaries of how fast and how accurate I can be to detect from my fingertips for that.
Yeah, fascinating. You also talked about another percussionist, Evelyn Glennie, is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Who performs barefoot.
That's right.
So she can sense the vibrations and things, and all that just points to the ability of our bodies to sense those what you call vibrotactile, correct? Is that the term you come up with that? And sonic integration is combining vibrotactile with the acoustic sound that comes together, which is a part of what you're doing as well.
That's right, yeah. So Dame Evelyn Glennie talks about how hearing is just an extended form of touch, and touch is an extended form of hearing.
Yeah.
If you think about it, the skin of the eardrum is skin, and so it's still something that's part of your body and uses the same cellular kind of musculature to be able to enact it. And so she likens the experience of watching a truck go by. Do you hear it or do you feel it? And which one is more prominent, or which one happens first or second? It almost doesn't separate. It's all one connected experience.
Right.
And so that's the synergy she brings in likening what we call multimodal experience of an event. So if you think about it the same way, even a cellist blowing their instrument, there's the tactile experience of feeling the resonance from it just as much as there is a hearing component to it. And even when you see it, you're expecting those two components together. If any one of those were to be removed from that situation, you would kind of trigger, something's not right here, something's not real.
Right.
I'm in the metaverse now, and something didn't make it through or something like that. Yeah. And so that type of experience is so important. I think it hasn't been really explored, but it definitely seems from observation, that's why people love concerts. That's why people love live experiences.
Right.
It's because there's a synchrony of all these experiences. Hearing music is one thing. Hearing and seeing it is another. Hearing, seeing, and feeling it is an exponential increase in experience that you can't get from any one of them. That's greater than the sum of its parts.
Right. So here at Sweetwater, we're now working with Edge Sound Research with these systems, putting them into different venues and different types of applications like that. I can see them going into churches. We talked about that in place of assistive listening, or even in place of the PA system, for that matter. You could also put them into even shops and in places where you have the speakers in the walls and basically the walls and the ceiling and the floor and everything. It just fascinates me how far you can go with this.
Yeah, actually embedded, invisible, almost perfect listening kind of a thing. I think that's kind of the end goal for what we as audio engineers have been trying to achieve. I want it to sound really good. I don't want people to see anything and take away from the experience, but it has to also be reliable. And the only way to make a reliable, invisible thing that's a good experience is to embed it, into the infrastructure so that people can't see it, but then it still emanates perfectly. So that way, there's no no sweet spot, no dead zone.
And there is still sound in the room.
That's
like
right.
when I was in the demo, you had a chair that had it mounted into the chair, and you sit down and you could still hear it in the room. And in fact, we heard a couple of different demos going on simultaneously, and they kind of isolate each other when you're doing that.
Yeah, surprisingly, because you're so close to the facility, right? Having multimodal and having your body first as a method of ingestion of experience, your body gets the information and your ears are confirming it. So you don't need to push as much air into the room to confirm it. In fact, you could turn the volume way down and you wouldn't even notice that much of a difference because your body is so used to saying, yep, this is normal, this is real, and I'm, just like I would be if I was there real life experiencing that sound wave. This is my body experiencing that sound wave and my ears confirm that sound wave.
Wow, it is fascinating. So from a technical standpoint, obviously there's the DSP going on behind the scenes, there's the drivers that you attach to the surface. Do you just hook this up to a regular power amplifier through a mixer? How do you drive the system?
Yeah, we wanted it to be logically as simple as just a full range speaker, right? Since it all intents and purposes, at the end result, it's for sound. It's to make it sound good. It's to make that experience sound good in the venue. We wanted it to address it like a normal speaker. So you can address it through Dante. You can address it through XLR, whatever the case is. We have done all the heavy lifting on our side to make sure that it is smart, it is capable, and it can adjust whatever you throw at it, and then it'll do all the signal conditioning, anything that it needs to do in order to deliver that perfect resonant experience from whatever you've attached it to.
Right.
So there's a little bit of hacking. We have certain pieces that we've put in there that's a little bit proprietary just for right now, so that way we can make sure that it does the thing it's supposed to do. But certainly we're looking for partners to be able to help. We're not amplifier makers. We're not DSP makers. We have the technology that works in such a way, but we want it to work for multiple different manufacturers and multiple different applications that we're not even thinking of.
Right.
Let it be the thing that everybody has wanted it to be, a perfect embedded system that can be applied anywhere, and it's a perfect system every time.
Another aspect of it is that, as you mentioned, when you bring all these things together, it becomes very immersive because you really are feeling the sound from everywhere. You're hearing the sound. If you're watching, say it's in a home theater, you could be immersed in the sound with the whole situation, see it, hear it, feel it.
The amount of people that have asked us to make a home theater is astounding, and bright future, I think, in the home theater market for sure.
Yeah, right. But we're not talking about something that's theoretical here. These are real products that you're making. We're carrying them here at Sweetwater. We can help install. We can do the whole situation working in conjunction with you guys. It really is a fascinating technology. If you've got a church, if you've got a venue, if you've got an arena, if you've got a shop, if you want to do a home theater, any of those kind of things, contact your Sweetwater sales engineer because they can give you all the details on how the Edge Sound research can help you achieve your goals in an invisible way. That's so immersive, and I just can't tell you, it sounds great, and it's a unique experience that I think you'd really enjoy, so you got to check this out. Ethan, congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.
It's so cool, and I had a lot of fun learning about it and even more fun hearing it.
I can't believe you read the dissertation.
Feeling
Thank
it.
you.
Right on, man.
Appreciate
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us here at Sweetwater. I'm Mitch Gallagher.